there, welcome back. I'm now going to talk about The Killer by David Fincher, as opposed to The Killer by John Woo, which I covered not long ago. And as soon as you call a film The Killer, you're always thinking the John Woo film starring Chow Yun-fat. It's just like, it's automatic of your certain age. It's like, yep. And if you're more of a noir fan, you think of The Killers, the Cinemax film, or the film that was made later on, the remake by Don Siegel. So there's lots of films with killer in the title that have iconic status if you're a film fan. And Fincher knew that when he had this title. It was based on a graphic novel from France, and it's something he'd been developing for a while. So obviously he had something in mind exactly how he wanted to shoot it. So he made this after he'd done Mank, which was his pet project that Netflix financed. So this was obviously the film he made as like, okay, you did a art house film with me, I'll do a commercial thing for you now. And it worked out great because Mank's a terrific film, and so is this, but it's a very different film. It is pretty much a genre film made by a guy who knows genre films, and he's having fun with the genre. But if you're just looking for a genre film, a revenge film, this works. But if you're looking for something deeper, this also works. So it's a nice mix. Now, the good thing here is I've criticised some Fincher films in the past for sometimes being a tad pretentious and sometimes been too long and having too much stuff in them that could have easily been cut out because they're trying to be literary. This one has voiceover, but it's not self-indulgent the way it has been in the past. It's someone talking to themselves, and you get a lot of character through that. So it doesn't feel like it's an indulgence, and it also isn't trying to make itself look like a great work of art. It's just the character talking. You're getting his mentality through this. He's talking to himself because there's no one else to talk to, as he waits to do assassins, and as he works out how to plan out the assassination. And sometimes his thoughts are taken out of basically he's doing a voiceover and suddenly it breaks off because something terrible just happened to him. It's like, oh god. So there's lots of fun there, and it shows you he's disconnected. He's telling you something, but he's telling himself something, and it's almost like you're the audience in his head, as if he's telling his audience like he's doing an interview in his head of this is how this happens. I'm really modest, but I'm telling you this because he's really telling himself because he's probably more egotistical than he can actually allow for in his subconscious. So it is like a performance. It tells you a lot about the character and how the actor and the director understand the character, but the character understands the character, and the sense of his self-importance and his sense of worth. He says one thing and he means something else, and it's like he is narcissistic even though he wants to be forgotten about, but he's narcissistic in his own head. So there's a weird disconnect to him because he's always claiming to be modest about his ambitions and what he does, but he's one of the top hitmen and he does all this horrible stuff, and some part of him obviously wants to be able to tell everyone how smart he was and how he get away with things, but also say, but I'm still modest. It's that kind of character that's quite interesting to put in this thriller, because if he didn't have that voiceover and that kind of weird effect, and Michael Fassbender playing him as someone with lots of sides that are pretty repressed, the plot of the film probably wouldn't be as interesting to you, because the plot basically is something goes wrong, some people come after Fassbender's character, he goes after them, gets revenge, that's it. It's a very simple plot, which is actually what's good about the film is it's methodical, and it's in a world where the outside world doesn't care what happens in this film at all. It's just a few dead bodies and no one would care. It's just basically these weird people doing to each other and destroying each other, and in a world that no one else would care about. A few people are beaten up or killed on the sidelines, but not many. It's just like, it's this insular world where they're taking each other out, and it's a cold world, and everyone is based a predator. This is perfect for a Fincher film. So the film starts with Fincher's character setting up a assassination. So you get the first 20 minutes of him waiting to do the assassination, and he's doing the voiceover and talking. You see him, how he disappears into the environment, how he finds places, how he to set up his assassination, how he plans it out, how he gets his body down to certain speed and rhythm so that he's taking away any emotions so it can be as clear as possible. But what he doesn't take into account is he's dealing with other people, and sometimes they do things he doesn't expect, or they move a certain way and suddenly someone gets in the way of the bullet. And instead of assassinating the guy he's meant to assassinate, he's assassinated his prostitute he's brought along for the night, because she moved in the way suddenly at the last second. And it causes havoc. The job's gone sideways. He gets out without getting caught, but instantly it's a case of, okay, what's the blowback here? And the blowback is pretty brutal. His girlfriend is beaten up and they're trying to find out where he is. And, you know, he says I'm not meant to have any contact, but obviously he's made human contact and he's figured it out that he needs human contact. He just doesn't like. He just like to assume he doesn't, but he does. There's just lots of things he's in denial about what he needs, and then basically because of that, he slowly finds out who the people are who did it, through just burning through his own world to find out who did it to him, who beat up his girlfriend, and he's out for revenge. And that's the story basically. So you have chapters. First chapter's the job going wrong. Second chapter's his girlfriend getting beaten up, and there's other chapters of different people he visits to find out what's going on. But each chapter is a small section of the film that's isolated in itself, just like the character isolates his own world in itself to each job, and there's no to him there's no connection. Everything's dislocated. He works different techniques so that everything feels dislocated. So it's part of his mind set up the structure of the film. So that's how it's kind of an art house film as well as a thriller. It's like you're seeing that the film, the way this character sees the world, and it's the way everything's isolated from each other, and you see him do very questionable things, and you just go along with it. I mean, he does go after his own boss, and what would normally be a very boring scene, but the way they do it in this film is really pretty horrific. He goes after the people who beat up his girlfriend, and that's pretty horrific. This is lots of really well put together sequences throughout the film that will make you queasy about the morality if you're viewing it in any way outside of how the killer views it. Because he views it in one way as a sociopath basically, and most other people, because Fincher actually slows the pace down and adds stuff of real life that the killer interacts with, it also encourages you always to, because the killer's using lots of stuff, he's using normal stores, he uses Amazon to buy things, he dresses like a normal person just to be anonymous. So Fincher's always playfully bringing you into this world by making you be able to identify, like, he's got a black bin for this and this and that. He's using household goods for certain things. So Fincher's always kind of pulling you into it and make you uncomfortable. And the villains are all people with lives that feel very normal outside their job, really. So he's always bringing you into things to make it more horrific than if he just done a stylized killer villain thing. The deaths would not have an effect, but because of what he does, the deaths have effect. Because of the way Fincher shoots someone, the way he has the scene set up to make you identify with the locations, understand what kind of people they are and what they're like outside their lives. It makes you understand them in the context of reality rather than the fictional universe. And that's clever and it's fun and it's a nice reflection of the killer's various lies to himself and the way other people in this industry lie to themselves as well, what they're doing. There's a secretary for his boss who does administration, and she's lying to herself all the time, but I'm not a bad person. The killer knows he is a bad person, but other people are trying to delude themselves about how they get through things and what they're about. So it's a film about this kind of the fantasy life of a predator. So it's really about a predator. I mean, they're calling it a killer, but it's just about a predator. It could be anything. Like, this could be any industry where he's been made a mistake, he's been done in by his own people and he wants revenge. But it could be any industry. It doesn't have to be a killer killing them. It could be lawyers or whatever, and they'd have the same kind of dislocation of this is my private life, this is my public life, and this is my professional life, and it does have that echo of reality, even though it's an absurd hitman film, because it is kind of a black comedy about the way we are in our lives, with the addition of people shooting each other. So that's the kind of droll sense of humour it's got. It does have a sense of humour. It is a kind of quiet black comedy, but it doesn't ever go over the line into something more, like trying to make itself seem more important than it is. No, it's just like, if you notice that, you notice. If you don't, you don't. I mean, there is a few times they go out over the top. Some of the killers' names are characters from TV shows from the 70s, which is a bit much for this character. I don't think this character would actually do that. That's a screenwriter's inside joke. But there's lots of other things that work really well. Like, just watching a killer, like, going to a gym to get information and things like that. Like, he's going to different places that are pretty mundane in life to get what he wants. So a lot of the time, it's not like he's going to, like, a place with all these secret doors or anything. It's just normal life stuff. The most high-tech he ever gets is his own house, where he's got various stashes, and he's various stashes around the country in case he needs money or weapons. But most of the time, the way he's interacting is with just people. He knows where to buy guns in different cities if he has to go somewhere unplanned. So he's always prepared. But so again, there's the genre side of it, like what you expect from a hitman film, like somebody who knows how to buy guns and things. And there's also the kind of domestic side of it, and like what these people are like on the domestic side after these powerful people doing these awful things. And then you see them in life, and they're just normal and boring people. So the film just has a lot of fun with the public side of someone and their just mundane day-to-day reality of beyond the fantasy of what you think they probably are. It's like, no, they're just normal people. Again, which makes the murders more brutal, but it also makes it humorous. So yeah, I'm trying to get into spoilers about who does what, and just give the general idea. But it is a really enjoyable film. It really works. I'm not sure how compared to Mank, because they're two very different films, but it is a good Fincher film. I'm not sure if this is one of his best ones, but it is definitely a really strong one. It really does come together. And I think it tries to appear more slight than it actually is. I think there's more to it than it actually is trying to show. I think it's trying to say, no, we're just a hitman film, but there is more to it. So I would definitely say go watch it. It's very enjoyable. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with some more videos. Right, bye for now.